So wonderful to be back here again and to see all of you and to greet you all and to enjoy the wonderful sounds of that anointed voice Miss Elaine gives. Give her some prayer. And to be able to share with you on your theme for this month, Constant Companion. You've had someone to come each Sunday and to share with you, as Spirit has shared with them, the concept of constant companion. And I'm certain at the end of it all, we've come to the conclusion that it's all about consciousness. Yes. You know, today as we all awaken, something caused that awakening to occur. Yes. And as we began to move about our day, something gave us life, something gave us mobility. And that's how we always refer to it, something. Yeah. You know, often during the day, something will come to us and we'll begin to do something and we'll say, something told me to do otherwise. And it's that something that is always there. And this month we are referring to that something as a constant companion, which lets us know that it makes no difference where we may be or what it is that we are involved in, whatever it is that we're doing. There is something that is attending to us. But it's all about the focus that we give it. So one of the great things that Spirit has given unto us is a gift that we call our intuition. And in this month, we refer to even our intuition as the constant companion. Now, that intuitive gift will never let us down. It's always telling us what to do and when to do it. But all we need to do is to recognize it and then to move in accordance to its instruction. Yeah. And when we fail to do that, we'll say, well, had I moved as something had told me to do, then my whole circumstance would have been different. How many good instances and situations have we allowed to go past us because we failed to listen to that something? Even in a moment of seeming danger or despair, something told us to do otherwise, but we chose to ignore it. But that speaks really volumes of exactly where we are. We can hear from now until the end of the year this idea about having a constant companion, but until we reach the moment where we begin to adhere to it and allow its message really to resonate within us where we have complete confidence in it, we deny ourselves really a tremendous blessing. Today, as a part of my message, I'd like to share with you the writings of several individuals, and I'd like to begin with one whom we all love, and that's Joe Goldsmith. And he says this: God is the only reality of our being. He is our life, our mind and spirit, the animating principle, the substance and soul of our being. And yet, how well do we know God? He's all of this and more. And we're quick to talk about the goodness of God and how important God is to us and the impact of the good within our circumstance when we turn to that all-knowing, all-loving, all-source. But how well do we know it? This month we're talking about it as a constant thing, a constant source, a constant something that we cannot escape. But how well do we know it? Job goes on, in our experience, we are apt to be content with the intellectual acceptance of God as mind and soul. And we fail to grasp that our great need is to know God, to understand the law and reality of our own being. And see, once we know God, then we are clear that there is something that is constantly attending to us because its action is working through us. And when we understand that, that will cause a shift to come about in our consciousness. Many of us have been a part of this walk for many, many years. And if we were just to stop for a moment and be very objective about our beliefs and what it is that we hold true and the things that we do, ask yourself just something very simply. Have you altered the way that you approach God and you approach prayer and you approach the goodness of the gifts of God within your life. See, for so many of us, we understand that Spirit is a constant companion. We understand that God is life. We understand that God is mind. And we give God so many different adjectives to describe what it is. But do we really know what it is? Because it is in the knowing what it is that governs our ability to use the gifts of the divine in every day of our circumstance. See, every day should be a new adventure for us, a new opportunity to experience the greatness that is inherently ours. The understanding that God finds great delight in empowering us, and that every day is an opportunity for that empowerment. For us to lift our faith just a little bit higher, for our understanding to grow just a whole lot broader, and for our demonstrations to be a whole lot greater. Yes. Every day is an opportunity for us to do this. But do we? Every day when it comes to dealing with Spirit, do you find yourself asking God for something, or do you find yourself affirming that which you already have? Yeah. Now, oftentimes, in our approach to prayer and our approach to understanding the greatness of God in our life, we are constantly asking. And see, when we ask, that lets us know that we have never accepted the gift that has been given. Yeah, because when we accept what's been given, we stop asking and we begin affirming. Yes. How many of us today began today with an affirmation? That we made an affirmation that this day was going to be greater than the day prior to it. Yes. That the experiences of today are going to be greater. Yes. And that God will reveal itself into our circumstance even greater today than on yesterday. And all the opportunities that are there before us will be just that, great opportunities for us to delight and experience and enjoy ourselves in. See, this is the gift operating through us. When we are speaking of a constant companion, oftentimes our thoughts are something that is outside of us. But when we raise up our consciousness, we understand that God is within us. And its operation is through us. And how we operate it is we affirm its truth within our own experiences. Another great writer, someone that we've loved for many, many years, especially any of you who have ever read Essence magazine, she often had a script in there called In the Spirit. That was Susan Taylor. Yeah. And she writes this: love yourself as the beautiful and necessary light that was created by God. Imagine that. Love yourself as the beautiful and necessary light. Now, we're often taught to love ourselves. But oftentimes we forget that we are necessary. And not only us, all of life is necessary. So often we see that conservationists and the like are talking about various animals and plant life that's becoming extinct because of the environmental pressures and because of man. They're doing things that are extinguishing them. We're blotting out their life, and we forget that everything that has been created is necessary. Yeah. All of us play a role in this great adventure that we call life. And while we may not understand the necessity of ourself and plant and other animal life, we need to understand that it is all necessary, otherwise it would not have been created. But she goes on, remember that the highest power is alive within you. Now, all the great authors and teachers, all the great mystics and sages, everyone is saying the same thing relative to God, that it is within us. And we say that we are in agreement with that, and we celebrate that, but then if we believe that and we celebrate that, why often then in our activity, in our prayer time, we are approaching God and saying, give me. Even when we say the Lord's Prayer, sometimes we forget, give us this day our daily bread. We've been taught that forever. Now the day has been given. But somewhere within consciousness we have not accepted that. We've not been able to process that. Somewhere along the line, something says to us, if we say something contrary to that, lightning or something is going to come and strike us down. But you know, it's just like everything else. We evolve.
Yes.
We start at one place and we arrive at another.
Yes.
But for so many of us, we are still at the place of our start. We still have not accepted the gift. Because the moment we accept the gift, we'll understand that the day has been given. And in the day, all the bread that we can consume has come with it. Ours is to receive it and understand that that's what we do. Be grateful for the gift. So rather than say, give me, I am grateful for this day and all that is a part of it.
Yes.
Imagine if our prayer began to go like that. How we would alter our circumstance. Susan continues, you are human and divine. As is true of the universe, nothing about you is haphazard or accidental. Know that the source of whatever you may need is right where you are. And oftentimes we are challenged in accepting that. Because there are things that are going on in our experiences. Be it illness, be it emotional, be it financial, be it whatever. And we question that, rather than to understand that this is just something that's coming in that I'm going to grow stronger from on the other side.
Yes. Yes.
You know, we allow ourselves to get caught up in the mundane rather than to realize that we are victims. We make ourselves victims. It's not because the universe has decided to make us a victim, it's because we've decided to do that. If all the power there is and all the presence there is, and all the God that there is within you, how can you be a victim?
Come on.
You have the ability to change your circumstance, but that is something that you must do. You must begin the change.
Yes.
First you must see it, and then you must accept it. But if your vision is caught up on what it is that you do not want, and you have not begun to understand that you are empowering that vision, you will never begin to alter that circumstance. It will always remain the same.
Come on.
But the greatness is within you, it is trying to rise to the surface.
Yes.
But it is up to you to open the door and to let it out. You know, the one that we so often go to when we think about the closeness of this relationship is spirit. It's something that we'll just go to as our default is the 23rd Psalm. And we're so accustomed to listening to David when he begins to say that God is my shepherd. Imagine that. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. What is he saying other than that God is the source of my life?
Yes.
This is the source of my circumstance. And all that I could ever desire is there. All I need to do is to learn how to access it. And once I've learned how to access it, then if I fail to go there and get what I need, there's no failure in God. The failure is in my inability to go and get what it is. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. And we move forward and say that he creates a serene place for me to rest.
Come on.
That's what God is like. In the time that I am so tired, body and mind, and I need to just sort of take a breather, if I turn to the source of all that's good, a serene place is created for me just to relax and to gather my thoughts and to realize once again the power that is inherently mine. So that when I move from this place of serenity, I move as a powerful spiritual being as God intended me to be.
Yes.
Oh, and he goes on. He leadeth me beside still waters. Only God can lead us to that place of purity.
Yes.
That place of rest, that place of purity, that place of goodness. But the most important one is that he restoreth my soul. He restores my soul. Charles Fillmore calls that the realm of possibilities. The realm where things are made possible. My soul. Dr. Ernest Holmes, when he begins to speak about the triune of our being, he says there is spirit, there is soul, and there is body. And as we go into our studies, we understand it's the thing itself, the way it works, and what it does.
Yes.
The thing itself is spirit. The way it works is through the soul of man.
Yeah.
God gave us a soul that has a place to operate, a place where it can cause the good that we need to be made manifest. And what happened as a result of that interplay in the soul? A body came about. All of this came from God acting upon itself in some interaction upon the divine and said, well, let's make a man. Let's make it in our image after ourselves. And what did God have to use? Only divine stuff.
Yes.
That's what you are, divine stuff.
Yes.
That's why you are so important in the scheme of things. That's why you are so great. And that's why this greatness has to penetrate into your understanding. Regardless of the images, regardless of the things that you see that are happening in this outer world that you call your own, regardless of all that, greatness is still yours.
Okay.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, though I walk through areas of danger, I am not afraid because of a constant companion. That presence provides me comfort. Can we just kind of go there sometimes? Rather than to just be so afraid. That even I'm walking in new places, in new circumstances, seeing a totally different environment, something I've never seen before. Being I'm on a new job and everything about it is new. I don't know where this is, that is, or the personalities are there, but I'm walking as one that is anointed. I'm walking as one who is not afraid to say, today I stand in my glory. I'm at that place where God is breathing life and newness within my being. And because of that, this is nothing. There is only even greater good that's awaiting me on the other side. And that's why he ends and says, listen, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord. There is no place else for me to go. There is no place else for me to be. I want to be at that place where God is always, all the time. That's why we go there as a default. Because that song in itself has so much meaning. But ours is the ability to get into the depth of it and expand our own understanding. The psalmist shares another one. He says, listen, if I were to take the wings of the morning and fly to the utmost parts of the world, even there shall thy right hand hold me.
Yes.
There is no place where God is not.
Yes.
There is no circumstance where God is not. Understand this, if you are there, God is there.
Come on. Yes. Yes.
If you are there, then God is there. And everything that you've ever decided about God to be the truth is likewise there. All the power, all the love, all the joy. It is all there. It is there and it is attending you. I'd like for you to affirm something with me this morning. Let us put something in consciousness. I want you to say this after me, if you will. Right? No. God being right where I am. So say that.
God being right where I am.
Is what I am.
Is what I am.
Right where I am.
Right where I am.
Let's do that once again. God being right where I am.
God being right where I am.
Is what I am.
Is what I am.
Right where I am.
Right where I am.
I and my Father are one.
I and my Father are one.
Now, this is the true understanding of a constant companion. The source of life, the foundation of all power and wisdom, but honesty, the purity of what we are right where we are right now, this moment, and all the moments to come. God, right where I am, is what I am, right where I am.
Yes.
Now, the next time you begin or you hear someone say that you are less than what you want, think of yourself as being. First you say that to yourself. And then you speak it aloud for everyone to hear that God is right where I am, is what I am, right where I am.
Yes.
So what you're saying is, no, never mind. I will not allow your definition of me into your consciousness. Because I am that which God has created me to be, right where I am. I am that opportunity for it to operate in my circumstance, right where I am. And how does it operate? It operates as me. It's empowering me. It's moved as I direct it for me. And we need to understand that. This constant companion is not something that we have outside of ourselves that we are carrying along. It's something that is a part of who we are.
Yes.
And therefore that needs to be the reflection that we have wherever we are.
Yes.
Think on this. As you stand in your glory, you will see an inseparable attendant or companion. You will see an attenuated form following you. You will see a profile, a reflection, all trailing you. And you ponder within your own mind, what is that? Is that your shadow? Or is it the divine presence? Revealing itself to you as a reminder that you have a constant companion.
Yes.
Now, if you notice, you'll only see it when you are standing in the light. When you are standing in the light, you'll look to the left or maybe look to the right, and you'll see something there. You'll see a form. And if you move, it moves. Stop, it stops. If you turn, it will turn. And you say, is that my shadow? Or is that the Holy Spirit reflecting itself as me?
Yes. Yes.
Now once again, you only see it when you stand in the light.
Yes.
Now, there's more than one light. There's more than just the illuminating incandescent light that we'll see, that the natural light that we may stand in. But there is the light that shines within us. The light that is our glory. The light that causes an aura to go around our form. The light that others will see beyond that we're seeing with our eyes. The light that forms the presence that someone else may feel as we are standing with them. Yes. The light that speaks through us as we begin to utter a word. Yes. The light that comes forth as we begin to stand in truth. Yes. See, when we stand in the light, we will see it. And we will see it reflecting itself as that which we are.
Yes.
This morning, I'd like for us to speak a new word into manifestation, to make the declaration of this divine essence, this divine activity. And in doing this, once again, I want us to move away from the give me to the understanding that we have. You know, I love it in the scriptures when they said, to as many as received him, to them gave the power to become the sons of God. And if the sons of God join heirs with Jesus Christ. And if we are all of this and more, why are we still asking? At some point, we have to move forward in our lives. At some point, we have to really have an expansion of consciousness. At some point, we need to begin to live what it is that we are talking about.
Yes. Yes.
And we begin with small steps. And as we begin with small steps, we move to greater and greater steps. You know, I shared this the other day, an experience I had a couple weeks ago. I was in Connecticut. I went back to funeralize my aunt, the matriarch of our family. And while I was there, I had some additional business to take care of regarding some real estate back there. So I had this meeting with the lawyer before I went to the airport to catch my flight. And I had everything really kind of timed in my mind. I was on this really tight schedule. because I didn't know how long the meeting was going to be with him, and I know that the drive to the airport was going to be an hour without traffic. So I didn't know what traffic was going to be like, but I knew I had to get there. So the moment I get into the parking lot of the attorney, my phone buzzes and there's a text. And on the text is a text from American Airlines, and they're telling me that my connecting flight from Charlotte to LA has been canceled. But not to worry, we're rerouting you, we're putting you on another flight. We're going to take you through Orlando, and you'll get into LA maybe around 12:58 a.m. Now, Tuesday was like Monday. It was already prescribed, and that schedule was tight. And I knew I'd have to get back here early so that my Tuesday morning schedules would flow without me having to cancel anything. So I get out of my car and I'm reading this, and I looked at the phone, and I said, right where I am, God is, and I know that everything is in the divine mind, that there is another way. That I will not get back to LA that late. That somehow, some way, this will be altered. So I go into my meeting, and we get through, maybe 2 hours later. I get in the car, and I get to the airport. I drop the car off at the rental car place. I get to the terminal. I go up to the desk, and they say, "Oh yes, Mr. Jones, we see that your connecting flight has been canceled. And we have you all set on another flight." And I looked at him and I said, "There has to be another way." He says, "Let me see." So then he started going, "Oh, I have this, no, that's not going to work. I have this, no, that's not going to work. Oh, I got one for you. We're going to put you on a United flight. You'll go through Chicago. You get to LA an hour before you were initially supposed to." Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Amen.
And as he printed the tickets and tagged the luggage, I said, "Thank you, sweet spirit."
Yes.
As I walked to the gate.
Yes.
Now, the option is I could have been upset. He had been completely bent out of shape, like so many other people become. But see, it's all about choices.
Yes.
And it's all about us understanding what it is that we are about. How do we talk about that we are one with all the power and the glory that is, and we cannot even alter that flight? How that we can say that we are one with all the power and the glory there is, and then we allow ourselves to get upset when the least little thing comes into life and begins to take us off center. Nothing should remove us from center. See, when we find ourselves being moved off center, that's the first clue that we're not standing in our glory. And we're not going to see the shadow of goodness following us because we're not standing in the right place. See, this is not just something that we practice on a Sunday morning when we come to an instance like this. It's not just something that we talk about when we come to midweek service. It's something that we live. And when we live it, we apply it to everything that is a part of our circumstance. Whether it is in our business, whether it's on our job, whether it's in our marriages, whether it's in our relationships, regardless of what it might be, we apply it there and we expect the best to come from it. Because there is this constant companion. Now understand that word, constant. That means always there. And if it's always there, then why don't we always use it? So let's get back to this affirmation I want us all to share. This word that I want us to speak into this moment. And not only just speaking it into this moment, but speak it into our understanding. To receive it at the core of ourselves. So close your eyes and understand who and what you are. Forget where you are. Forget who's next to you. Focus on you as you say these words. Today I am empowered. You may say it.
Today I am empowered
To stand in my glory.
to stand in my glory
Because I am
Because I am.
The revelation
The revelation
of God that I am.
of God that I am.
Let's say that once again. Today I am empowered
Today I am empowered
to stand in my glory
to stand in my glory
because I am the revelation of God
because I am the revelation of God
that I am.
that I am.
I am spirit identified as me.
I am spirit identified as me.
The restorative power of the Holy Spirit
The restorative power of the Holy Spirit
flows throughout the totality of myself.
flows throughout the totality of myself.
I can feel the magnificence of my divine self,
I can feel the magnificence of my divine self,
empowering me in this moment.
empowering me in this moment.
In faith,
In faith,
I call forth
I call for
my greatness now
my greatness now
and expect
and expect
it to come forth
it to come forth
in all that I do.
in all that I do.
Divine love forgives me,
Divine love forgives me,
and I forgive all others.
and I forgive all others.
My inner life
My inner life
and my outer world
and my outer world
merge into one experience
merge into one experience
of divine illumination.
of divine illumination.
All is well everywhere
All is well everywhere,
and with everything
and with everything
I am involved in.
I am involved in.
An overwhelming sense of gratitude
An overwhelming sense of gratitude
is now released into the atmosphere.
is now released into the atmosphere.
It is done.
It is done.
Hallelujah. It is done.
Hallelujah.
And so it is.
And so it
And
is.
so it is.
And so it is.
Now wrap yourself up with your own arms. Just wrap yourself up and love yourself for just a moment.
And so it is.
And feel the presence of God as it flows through you as you. And as you feel that divine presence moving through you, just say, it is done.
It is done.
Hallelujah. It is done. And so it is.
And so it is.
Now, that's how you speak in the affirmative. You are not asking for anything, but you are making a statement into that which is receiving your word. And that which has empowered you to say that word. And after speaking that word, there should be a level of expectation. You are expecting something, some sort of movement to take place to alter your circumstance. You are expecting change to come about.
Yes.
You are expecting to become a great demonstrator of divine truth.
Yes.
You are allowing Spirit to use you as a channel of its own divine activity.
Yes.
And it is moving through you.
Yes.
And any and all things that are unlike its divine nature, it's moving them out of the way.
Yes.
So that it can continue to move unobstructed in your circumstance.
Yes.
That's what a constant companion does. That's why having a constant companion is all about consciousness. It's about understanding. Right where we are, God is. God is what I am, right where I am. It makes no difference where I may be. Today here at LA Third Church, tomorrow in the White House. It makes no difference where I am.